Thank you so much for joining my Patreon and subscribing, and I really appreciate your subscriptions. Remember, if you are on the higher tier, you can message me anytime and ask any questions that you may have. I'm also available for one-to-one sessions should and when you need it. My attraction to you is that you want me equally.
But it's like an addictive drug. Once you're exposed to it, it was a pleasurable experience, so you want to do it again.
Yeah, and the pleasure overrides the pride.
Mm-hmm. And you don't really see the price right then and there.
Yeah, you don't see it. But and also, I have to really preface this with the fact that I've never watched pornography, and I talk so much about it. Sometimes I think I should watch it just to get an insight into what I'm talking about, but I just can't sit there. The voyeurism makes me feel too uncomfortable. But that also might be because of my religion. I'm personally, I never feel like it's a secret. I always feel like, oh, God's going to watch me and I'm going to be in trouble, blah, blah, blah. So I've still got that kid in me that thinks it's haram and I'm going to get in trouble. So I've never actually watched pornography, but I definitely should. At one point, I might watch it just to see what it does.
And you also haven't done drugs?
Oh, no, never done. I've never tried alcohol.
So tonight, we're going to have some fun tonight.
Impossible. I think the gateway to drugs is usually alcohol. If you've never tried alcohol, it's very difficult to then go on to drugs.
I'm going to get you drunk. We're going to get high.
Good luck with that. Yeah. So no, I think that's what's kept me. But please don't take this to mean that I'm a good person in any way, shape or form. This is simply because of the restrictive upbringing I had. And me, the type of person I am, because I feel like I'm so full of vices anyway, the last thing I need to do is add substances to me, because I'm so brazen as a human being and I'm so fearless that if I ever started indulging in drugs and alcohol, I'd be in jail.
No, but I believe you. I agree with you 100% on the porn thing.
Yeah, how come you agree with that?
I just see how it oversensitizes men. Mm-hmm. But to me, it's the courage thing.
Yeah.
Courage is a huge part of being a man.
Yeah.
And what courage is needed when you're watching porn?
Exactly.
None. But you go to approach a beautiful woman like yourself, it takes all the courage. Guys will shake in their boots before they'll approach a woman.
And it's always, I know it sounds terrible, but sometimes I can tell by looking at a man if he's watching too much pornography. And they'll say, how can you tell by looking at a man? And I said, listen, if I can see a man that's single and he's super overweight and he's not taking care of himself and his bedroom is a mess, he's addicted to pornography. Because any man who didn't have that outlet knew living like this means no sex, and they would fix it. But because they've got that outlet, they can continue to live in a way that's unattractive to humans, not just women, humans. So I can almost tell by looking at a man that he might be addicted to pornography.
So it's always good, I think, to look back at how humans lived before all this technology, before all this advancement that came in our world. And that's probably how we should be living.
And what were women most attracted to? Courage. Because
Yeah.
it would take courage to go hunt and gather. It would take courage to come and impregnate. It would take courage to build in tribes. You would never be in tribes with a man that had no courage. So I think anything as a man, if you kind of think about all the things that scare you and you lean more towards avoidance, you're losing your masculinity. And if women scare you, you've lost your masculinity. Try and make that something you're not afraid of. And you can only build a resilience against fear, against women, when you have a willingness to leave them, a willingness to walk away. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But if you're a man that's just itching to be with a woman, unfortunately, you lose all your courage, and she can smell that off you, and the breakup is inevitable. Yeah. So hard being a man, isn't it?
It is.
It's really hard. I wonder what's hard about being a woman. What do you think makes it? What do you think is hard about being a woman?
Getting older.
Getting older. That's true. Getting older. Here's the thing. I would say the hardest thing about men and women. I think men, you have to really work on yourself psychologically to be attractive. But for women, ours is more physically. And if we don't have that, we're very limited, and it's depreciated.
But I've seen women at my gym who are late 30s, 40s, 50s, probably 60s too, that are just unbelievable.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Unbelievable.
But I would say to women in general, and I always say this to women, is...
But I'm in Los Angeles. I'm
and
going
so in
to Gold's
Dubai.
Gym.
I'm in Dubai, so everybody's Instagram. But what I do say to women, I was like, it's unreasonable to expect your husband to still be attracted to you when you let yourself go. It is totally unreasonable. And if you've really gained a lot of weight and you become a different woman, and then he has an affair and you're shocked, you can't be shocked. I know it's not nice to hear, and I know that a lot of them are going, oh, you're such a misogynist. It's just a fact of life. If I let myself go completely, and I'm a completely different person to the man that my husband signed up for, it doesn't make it right, but it's inevitable that he's going to not be attracted to me. Now, some men will stick with you and never be unfaithful, but that doesn't change the fact that they still aren't attracted to you. Some men won't cheat. They literally won't cheat, but they do lose attraction, and they've just almost kind of castrated that part of themselves. But no man is going to be attracted to that over the years. So if you feel like you can deprive men of the thing that they probably value a lot in a relationship, which is attractiveness, then unfortunately they're going to seek it elsewhere. So, and I'm not saying that's every man, but we owe it to our partners to remain someone somewhat in the ballpark of what they signed up for. But having a bunch of kids and then becoming a different human being and then complaining that he's not interested in you is just a little bit neglectful.
Discipline, courage, and hard work.
Could you be attracted to a woman if she totally changed physically?
Meaning like put on 40
gained
pounds?
a lot of weight.
No.
Yeah, unfortunately. I could still be attracted to men,
No,
but I don't think they could be me.
I could appreciate her
Yeah.
as a friend or as a partner, but as a...
Sexual partner?
No.
It won't happen.
No.
It just won't happen. And here's the thing, when you let yourself go, and it's so hard, I completely understand when you've had kids who, like, some of them don't have time for the gym and they're working and they don't have time for it. I completely understand that it's not easy, but life's not easy. And the reason why I say it's important to stay on top of that is because then they can't, the porn excuse can't be used that I had to. And the other thing is what intimacy between couples does, like usually when I have a couple that really are fighting and they're really not seeing eye to eye, usually the physical intimacy is gone. When you fight with somebody day in, day out, but you have physical intimacy, you start to become neutral again. You almost get to a state of neutrality. But without that physical intimacy, it's almost like living with your annoying sibling. Like they're so annoying, you hate them, and you don't even have any physical connection. So you just end up building more and more frozen anger towards each other. So physical intimacy is really, really important in keeping that marriage alive. And you have to put the ingredients in place for good physical intimacy. It's not always going to be exciting. It's going to get incredibly boring at times. But you at least take care of yourself enough to be as pleasing as you were relatively in the beginning.
Do you see people in your practice, couples who actually fix things and get back to where they should be?
Yeah, a lot of the time they can. And the main thing that really helps that get them back on track is when they both acknowledge where they let each other down. Couples that don't get back on track are the ones that believe they did nothing wrong and their partner's just inherently a bad person. They think he's just bad or she's just bad. But couples that think our marriage broke down because certain things weren't in place, they can really recover, and they make little steps to make the relationship better. And those little steps, we call them bids for affection. What a bid for affection, and how this often leads to a divorce, is any emotion your partner's feeling, your partner should receive it. And what I mean by this, if I come home and I say, oh, I'm so tired today, and if I have a partner that just ignores me or says, oh, what are you tired about? I'm the one that did this, immediately we build friction. But if I have a partner that says, hey, why, what happened? Are you okay? Do you want to rest for a bit? That builds intimacy again. And having a partner, them shift from being negative about that to responding to each other's emotions, no matter how small it might be, that builds love and affection again.
So there is hope.
Always. So every emotion your partner feels, you just respond to it. Doesn't mean you fix it. You just respond to it. I'm so tired. Why? What's wrong? Hey, watch this. Look at this video. Look at this picture. Okay, give me 1 second. I'll come and look at it. It's that interaction that keeps people together. But when you have a partner that you're trying to talk to them and then they're on their phone the whole day, or you look upset and they don't even notice, you start to build resentment.
What do you think the cause of most breakups is now?
It's that. It's ignoring the emotion. It's literally that. So what will happen is it might be like a woman might feel like she was really upset about something and her husband just didn't notice. Or the man might say he did really well at work and she was never proud of him. It's just these little emotions.
Makes a big difference.
It makes a big difference. He might have been really excited about a deal and she was just either indifferent or negative. And it's just not sharing each other's emotion makes you look for somebody who does share that emotion with you, or just build resentment to your partner. That and excessive criticism. Sometimes partners, they criticize each other a lot. What the research has found, you have to give 5 times as much praise as you do criticism. You can criticize your partner, but just make sure there's more towards praise. And then you can always find praise if you want to. It can be as simple as, oh, babe, thanks for making the bed. Or, oh, can you make that tea the way you make it? You make it so good. Small things you can easily add praise. But how people set themselves up for a divorce is they find the flaw in every scenario. And is that the fun out of the relationship?
I've heard it said before where in romantic relationships you want to have 5 positive interactions, I think, to 1.
That's the Gottman study, yeah. They're really good. If you are struggling, I recommend not watching me, watching the Gottman Institution, because they really do teach you all about repair. I kind of am like the apocalypse, like this is how bad it is. But they really,
Because when a
teach you.
relationship is just too perfect and smooth, it becomes flat and boring.
The thing is, the flat and boring, for people that grew up with healthy environments, flat and boring is all they knew. They only knew consistency and monotony. So that's why they have a head start for relationships, because relationships really the success comes when you can accept the flat and boring.
So you don't need to have that negative interaction every 5 times?
I know people like it. They like, look, you should definitely have some conflict.
I typically don't.
You know, you need some conflict, because no conflict means both of you are not expressing yourselves. So some couples have no conflict whatsoever.
Yeah, but 1 out of 6 would be a lot for me.
1 out of 6?
Having a fight?
You ever fight?
Rarely,
Yeah.
but it's happened.
And do you not fight because you don't find anything to fight about, or do you suppress it?
No, I don't find anything to fight about.
Nothing bothers you?
No.
So if you do start fight, or do have something, what would it be about? Has there ever been a theme that upsets you about women?
Something somebody did that was just like inappropriate, or like in a business get together, she said or did something that really just was. It wasn't your night. It wasn't your night to say that. It wasn't like.
But you just don't fight generally. It doesn't come naturally. You're not confrontational for no reason.
No, never.
Oh, okay, that's good. But then in relationships, doesn't that make it really easy to be with somebody like you?
Yeah, I have really good luck.
Yeah, okay. And then so when they don't work out, what is the cause?
I've had girls put on weight, like you mentioned.
Okay. Do you lose sexual attraction?
What's that?
Do you lose sexual attraction?
Yeah,
Okay.
totally.
And do you lose it fast?
Fast.
Yeah, and then do you express it, or do you just wait for them, or do you?
I
Just
try
withdraw?
not to say it because oh, you're putting on weight, honey. It's like, what do you? Like, nobody
do you
wants to hear
express or do you withdraw? Because men usually they either say it or they just withdraw sexually and wait.
I withdraw.
You withdraw, yeah.
The other thing that would kill it for me is not feeling appreciated.
Okay.
That's probably what led to my divorce.
And what does appreciation look like for you?
I mean, like I tend to set, the lifestyle that I provide is pretty great.
Praise be to God, yeah.
And you would think that the person that's receiving that better life would be like,
thank you.
treat you like a king.
No.
Not that I need to have my ass kissed, but just not feeling like the opposite of that.
And what would treating you appreciating, would that be, what would be a gesture that would make you feel appreciated? Do you need verbally, or do you
Verbally.
need like acts of service? Or
No, verbally.
Verbally, okay. And that doesn't even happen as well?
That goes a long way with me.
Yeah? And even that is hard to get sometimes with women?
Well, I mean, just in one case.
Mm-hmm, okay. And even when you expressed it, would they still struggle?
Oh, I wasn't, see, I'm not that aware sometimes of what's going on, the dynamics of a
You
relationship.
don't know why you're feeling this way?
All I know is I met somebody else and that
Felt appreciation.
filled that, yeah, it's like that was the end of it.
But I would say one trait that men need to look for in women is a woman who's naturally grateful. Grateful, and they say, oh, we don't like entitled women, but here's the problem which men have. When a woman is not grateful, it actually makes a man work harder for her. Because let's say, for example, you take her to a nice restaurant and she's a bit unimpressed. If you're attracted to her enough, you just take her to an even better restaurant. And so what ends up happening is
Guys will put up with a lot of crap.
They'll put up with a lot of crap. So what happens is if they meet a girl she's attracted to and she's just like, instead of being like, no, they're like, okay, let me do more. So they end up investing more and more into entitled women. Whereas the woman that expects less, they give her less. So they end up investing in the wrong women. And men, men, you guys fall in love with whoever you invest in. Here's the problem that a lot of grateful, non-entitled women find. They find that because they are so grateful for the small things and because they don't ask for a lot, men don't give them a lot. Because there's some women out there that will just be happy with the takeaway and just be, don't need a lot. So what they find is men don't give them a lot. But that same man might meet a gold digger 2 years later, and you see that he's buying her a car and he's taking her here, and she's thinking, I didn't ask for anything because I was so grateful to be with you, but you didn't reward that gratitude. but they reward the entitlement of other women.
Well, see, to me, to my way of thinking, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I always feel like it's my job to motivate her to want to motivate me, to inspire me.
What does that mean?
Be so physically attractive, be so appreciative, be so fun to hang out with, be so whatever great quality she has.
Because what women sometimes feel is that the more you kind of accept the bare minimum just to show him that you're not there for the wrong reasons, the worse they treat you. And whereas when you are that woman that says, is this it? You just got one Bentley, my ex had two. Men work harder for that girl. So they just learn that men reward entitlement and they don't really reward gratitude. There are so many women that feel like they didn't ask for anything, never expected anything, whatever it is, and they got nothing in return. And there's other women who are just by design gold diggers, by design entitled, and they get things straight away. And so what?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and so that's why it feels a bit like it's so strange what men reward. So that's why we want to be grateful and we want to be low maintenance, but we realize when we do that, you treat us less well. So my advice to men would be...
As long as you keep the guy physically attracted to you, I think you're in great
good?
shape. You're in great shape.
Yeah, I would say my advice to men is always to reward grateful women. Reward those women. Don't reward the entitled woman who wants more and more and more and more. Reward that woman that doesn't ask for anything, who might not ask for anything. She still deserves it. I know men who says, oh, my ex was such a gold digger, she left with all my money. My new wife is amazing, she doesn't ask for anything. I don't have to buy her anything.
Yeah, stinginess is not a good quality.
It's not good. So reward gratitude in women. Women that are grateful, just because they don't ask doesn't mean they don't deserve. Reward those women rather than the entitled ones, because the more you invest in entitled women, the more you'll want the relationship to work because you've just invested so much. Mm-hmm. So reduce your investment to women.
I find, because I tend to be generous. Yeah. When I am generous, I'm more attracted.
Yeah, because
it's a weird. I don't understand it, but
it's so interesting.
It's almost like a fetish.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I live in Dubai and I work with lots of different types of women. One thing I notice about Eastern European women is they require investment. They require investment, and men are addicted to that because they want to see, like, men are still businessmen. At the end of the day, when you invest in something, you're more dedicated to it. If I put $10 into a Bitcoin, I don't really care if Bitcoin's up or down, but if I put 10 million, I now am loyal to my Bitcoin. Same thing applies to women. The more you invest in her, the more you'll want it to work out. So, because you don't want to see a loss in your investment. So make sure you're investing in the right ones.
Great advice.
Yeah.
All right, Sadia, always interesting.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right, we'll do this again, hopefully.
Inshallah. Okay.